Start the recording. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rick Green. I'm a certified health coach, and we'd like to welcome you to the Tuesday Night Habits of Health. Tonight, I'd like to take a second and introduce Troy Drollinger, who's a certified health coach as well. And he's going to bring on one of the TSFL clients and also a coach. And she's going to tell us a little bit about her journey. So, Troy, go ahead, please.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate that. I wanted to kind of introduce one of my clients and coaches too. She's been through the journey and really been successful in the program and been successful through her life for the last year or so. Made a big change in really what's what she has done in her world. So I'd like to introduce Joette Jones, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself. Go ahead, Jo.
Hi. I got an invite to participate in the Meltdown Challenge in September of 2014, and I thought, why not? Let's give it a chance. I've struggled with weight since I can remember, since I was a child. Over the years, I had lost weight and gained it back, and then some. And I was always feeling tired, and I didn't get out of the house much. Didn't really have any motivation. I was depressed, and I felt like I was missing out on life. I started Take It for Life in October of 2014, and in 7 months, I lost 55 pounds. This program works. I have been maintaining my weight, and currently now I have more energy than I can remember. I feel like a teenager, like when I was in high school. I have gained confidence in myself, and I am enjoying life because I am getting stronger and healthier. The day-to-day grind doesn't seem as overwhelming as it used to. I'm now a health coach, and I am glad and excited to be able to share this program with others. Thank you.
Hey, Joette, that's great. I'm looking at your picture here, and you're telling me that this is your daughter.
This
Now,
is my daughter.
looking on the left side of the picture, tell us which one is your daughter? The one on the left or the one on the right of the left side of the picture?
You're funny, Rick.
Well, no, I'm very serious because as it is, I mean, you don't look like you're old enough to have a daughter that age.
Well, the one on the right side of the picture, I guess when I'm looking at it, I'm the one that has Alaska printed on white t-shirt.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Rick,
yeah.
I interrupt, but I think that with Joette, what's interesting about the program and how things work and how life works is that she wanted to take control of her health. And the biggest thing that, a lot of people take advantage of is their health. And once they lose it, they think they can never get it back. And Joette was kind of that person. And, you look at the transformation and the change in her, what a difference that made for her to really have a bigger confidence and the understanding that she could really, overcome. So I think that was a good thing.
Absolutely, I would agree. Well, thank you so much, Joette. I appreciate you coming in and giving us a little bit of the background from where you came from and what this has done for you. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and stop my share screen, and I'm going to introduce one of our other health coaches who is a certified health coach, John Davidson. So John is going to talk about our week 9 and about healthy sleep. John, if you'd like, go ahead and start your screen share, and you can introduce your PowerPoint.
Okay, working on that here, trying to get it to come up. Are you seeing it?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Here we go.
You got it?
I think it's on its way. There we go.
I hope so.
Perfect.
I'm not seeing it though. Oh, there we go. Okay.
There you go.
All right, I'm trying to get it to go to full screen here. It's going on mine. Full screen.
Perfect.
You guys? All right. We are good to go then. Well, thank you, Rick. Yeah, again, my name is John Davison. I am a certified health coach with Take Shape for Life. I am calling in from the great state of North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina to be exact. So great to be with you tonight, and thank you for asking me to do this. We're going to start out with just a quick review of the last couple of weeks. We've been talking about the science of thermogenesis, which is burning more calories. That's what that means. So we've talked about, burning calories both inside of the gym and outside of the gym, and really becoming more of an active person outside of the gym helps us burn more calories all throughout the day. So it's really about learning how to make ourselves more active throughout the day. Just little things like when you're out, maybe at the mall, taking the stairs instead of the elevator or escalator. If you're going shopping at the grocery store, park your car out further in the parking lot. Just those little things make a big difference. They add up over time. And then in week 8, we talked about the EAT program, which is exercise, activity, thermogenesis. This is planned exercise. And if you're brand new in the program and just getting started, it may start with a walking program, just something simple, and then later on you may add resistance to help build lean muscle, which in turn will help you burn more calories. The nice thing about having more muscle mass is the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn, and you can actually burn calories in your sleep. Kind of an interesting statistic: for every pound of lean muscle that we gain, our body actually burns an extra 50 to 70 calories with no work attached to it at all. So that's kind of what we talked about the first couple of weeks. These are resources that we use for the class. Dr. A's Habits of Health textbook, along with his companion guide or workbook called The Living a Longer, Healthier Life. These two books go hand in hand. We've also got a couple of great websites that you can access. Habitsofhealth.net. There's a ton of good information on this website. There is a free health assessment you can take, and we actually recommend that you take the health assessment every few months to kind of just see how you're doing, how you progress through the learning through the habits of health. There's also a great self-study course that you can print out and work through on your own. A great support website called tsflsupportinmotion.com. Lots of good information on both of these two sites. So are you getting enough sleep? I'm trying to move here to the next slide. There we go. I don't know why there's a delay, but when you look at these pictures, I'm sure we can all relate to a lot of these people. We know people like this, maybe been there ourselves, but falling asleep maybe on the job, or falling asleep in class, or falling asleep watching TV, or like the girl up there in the right-hand corner, she can't go to sleep. Tossing and turning all night, 4 o'clock in the morning, she still can't sleep. Well, the good news is there are a lot of things that we can do to help you create some healthy sleep habits. And the first thing that we really want you to know is there are 6 levels of sleep. Sleep latency, this is when you first lay down at night. You first get into bed, you close your eyes, but you're not asleep yet. Now, stage 1, that's as soon as you fall asleep. It's a very, very light sleep. Stage 1, we're really only in this stage for about 15 to 20 minutes. Stage 2 is our brain waves actually start to slow down. Our body and our metabolism starts to slow down. In order to get into the deepest sleep there, stage 5, our body really has to slow down and relax first. So then moving to stage 3, this is when we start to get into the restorative sleep. This is when our brain starts to get in what's called delta waves. We start to have dreams in stage 3, but it's not a deep sleep yet. And then stage 4 is a much deeper sleep. We're starting to dream here. This is where there's much more recuperation, restoration, and recharging of our body here. And then stage 5 down the bottom, or REM, which stands for rapid eye movement. This is a very, very deep sleep. Our body is totally relaxed here, and our core body temperature lowers when we get into the deep levels of sleep. And this is when our dreams are actually much more vivid. So during the night, we will actually go through 3 to 5 different cycles that are called circadian rhythm. And you go through, you go in and out of these sleep cycles all throughout the night. So unless you are getting yourself down to stage 5, REM is really where 80% of rest happens. So if you can't get there, you're not going to wake up feeling very rested. You're going to wake up very sluggish and very, very tired. And will probably be tired throughout the day. And you only dream at the very bottom in stage 5. So if you're one of those persons that's not, you don't dream, you can't remember your dreams, you're probably not getting down to stage 5. So those are the 6 levels of sleep. So are you getting enough sleep? There are lots of statistics out there and some very interesting studies. There's one study out there today that shows that lack of sleep in women is actually worse than it is for men. You know, women who get 5 hours of sleep or less are 45% more likely to have heart problems. Women who get 6 hours of sleep or less have a 20% higher risk of obesity. And then that last study there, for men and women, getting less sleep almost doubled the risk of obesity, including in children as young as 5 years old. And this next slide, this is kind of cool. This is Dr. Anderson recommends the amount of sleep that we need based on our age. Now, obviously, infants and young children need a lot more sleep, and they need naps throughout the day. But adults, on average, they still need 7 to 9 hours of sleep throughout the day. And there are many studies. What's interesting is, although that study I mentioned earlier, that lack of sleep is worse for women, studies also show that women need less sleep than men do. On average, women need between 7 and 8 hours of sleep, and men need between 8 and 9 hours of sleep. Of course, most women don't agree with that, but obviously the men are on board with that one. And it wasn't until more recent years that scientists discovered that lack of sleep actually contributed to gaining weight. So lack of sleep causes an excess secretion of ghrelin, which is a hormone that increases appetite, and decreased leptin, which is a substance that tells us to stop eating. So lack of sleep also can cause increased levels of CRP. Now, CRP is C-reactive protein, which is a marker of inflammation in the body, which this increases the risk of cardiovascular disease. And of course, inflammation can also lead to higher risk of cancer, premature aging, and high blood pressure. So there are a lot of complications to not getting enough sleep, or what's called insomnia, lower performance, slower reaction time, higher risk of depression and anxiety. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of studies today comparing sleep deprivation to alcohol intoxication. One study finds that being awake for 36 hours, the reaction times are the same as someone who is just over the legal limits of alcohol intoxication. So what causes sleep deprivation? Well, obviously excess weight. That's certainly one of them. It makes a huge difference. It makes it very difficult to get comfortable at night. It's really hard to find a good position to sleep in. And if you're not going to be comfortable, you're not going to get good sleep. Sometimes our core body temperature won't drop enough. Pain or discomfort makes it really hard to relax. Allergies, snoring, trouble breathing, like sleep apnea. People with sleep apnea have obstructive breathing. So there is something blocking their airways, and typically it's excess weight. An interesting fact here, losing 10% of your body weight can actually lead to a 50% reduction in sleep apnea symptoms. And we have clients all the time, many clients over the years that have lost weight on our program and have noticed that they feel much better in the morning. They've got more energy throughout the day, and their spouses have noticed that they aren't snoring as much anymore. So all these issues listed above here can contribute to poor health. So there are a lot of things, like I mentioned, that we can do to create healthier sleep habits and sleep patterns. The first thing we really recommend that you do is find your chronotype, which what that means is figure out if you're a night owl or if you're an early bird. You know, are you a lark or are you an owl? And once you determine this, set a bedtime and set your routine for during the day. So when your alarm goes off in the morning, get out of bed. You know, once you wake up, get up. Don't get in that habit of hitting your snooze button multiple times and laying in bed for 45 minutes to an hour after you set your alarm. Limit caffeine. Now, you don't have to give up coffee or tea, but once the clock strikes noon, you really want to start to either limit or avoid caffeine if you can. And for sure, no caffeine within 3 hours of bedtime. Matter of fact, I think Dr. Ace says that caffeine, the half lifespan of caffeine is like 6 hours. So you really want to start cutting back drastically after noon. Eating responsibly. If you really want to avoid eating within 3 hours of bedtime. If you really have to have something to eat, a Medifast meal replacement is fine. You know, they're low glycemic. They're only 110 calories. You can go to bed right after you have a Medifast meal replacement, but stay away from high glycemic foods or energy-dense fatty meals in the evening. Say no to naps. So this was a shock to me. I always thought naps were probably good for you, probably healthy, but adults do not need to take naps. Now young children, infants, obviously they need lots of sleep time, lots of naps, but adults do not need naps. As a matter of fact, napping is a recipe for sleep disruption, especially if you doze off for longer than an hour. Now, you know, that being said, a short 5-minute power nap is okay, but if you find yourself needing more than that, you know, you want to avoid high glycemic fatty foods at lunchtime as well, and try to get to bed a little earlier if you can. Then after you've determined if you're a lark or an owl, you also want to set your routine in the evening time. You know, the evening time, this is your time, and it's important that we plan it wisely. As you head home at the end of the day after work, you know, make a mental note of any tasks that you need to get done and activities you want to get done before it's time for bed. Decrease stimulation. You know, 30 minutes before you go to bed, you want to power down all the electronics. Turn your TV off, power down the computers, your cell phone, iPads. Research shows that radiation from a smartphone may actually stimulate your brain and interrupt sleep. And there's another study that concludes that people who used a cell phone in the evening, it took them longer to fall asleep when they experienced headaches. Minimize liquid intake. That seems like a no-brainer, but having to get up during the night to use the bathroom is a common sleep disruption. And if you find this is happening to you, you want to really avoid drinking anything 2 hours before bedtime. Same with exercise. Avoid exercise within 2 hours of bedtime. Exercise is a great thing. It's a habit of health. We encourage that, but it's too stimulating to do right before you go to bed. So make sure you're not sacrificing sleep time for exercise time. You know, a better idea would be to give up some TV time for exercise time. And take your medications. If you are taking medications, check with your doctor and see if it's okay to take them about an hour before you go to bed. This will help them reach their effectiveness. Also, a hot bath, if you have time, that can help pain relievers like ibuprofen start to work sooner. Avoid alcohol within 90 minutes of bedtime. Alcohol is actually a stimulant and can suppress normal sleep patterns. Resolve family issues. You know, arguments with your spouse, logistical concerns about, you know, who's going to take the kids where in the morning, to-do lists. All these issues can be resolved before and should be resolved before bedtime. And never go to bed mad. Sleep time. This is your time to leave the rest of the world behind. You know, preparing your bedroom. You know, make your bedroom as visually calming, mentally relaxing, and as stress-free as possible. What that means is all the pets and kids and other critters should be in their own beds. Preparing yourself, you know, take some time for yourself at night in the bathroom. You know, wash your face, floss, and brush your teeth. If you have time, take a hot bath. You want to wear loose-fitting clothes that don't overheat, and keep your feet warm. That was interesting to me. It's important that you keep your feet warm. This will actually help dilate the blood vessels in your feet, which in turn will help you relax. And getting into bed, you know, once it is time for bed and you're ready to go to sleep, keep things calm. You know, meditate, read a book, do breathing exercises, whatever it takes to relax you. Some other things that we'll talk about in the next couple of slides here to help create a healthy sleep pattern, the lighting in your room, air temperature, noise, stress, all these things can and will affect the level of sleep. So here are some tips that are taken, right out of Dr. Anderson's book. You want to make your bedroom a comfortable sleeping environment. You want to choose colors that are warm, soft colors, light colors, pastel colors. Earth tones are ideal, not bright fluorescent colors in the bedroom. Road construction orange is probably not a real good choice for the bedroom. Lighting, when you're getting ready for bed, if you have dimmer switches, you want to dim the lights in your bedroom to start to kind of calm things down. And once you go to bed, you want to make sure your room is completely dark. Dr. A even recommends investing in blackout blinds. If you've got street lights right out your bedroom window or there's lights coming in, you really want your room to be completely dark when you go to sleep. Your bed, if you already have a bed, not much you can do about it, but if you're in the market for a new bed, we really encourage you to take the time picking out the right firmness for you. It's really important that you have a comfortable bed to get quality sleep. Your body temperature, you want to make sure your bed doesn't get too warm or too cold during the night. This can interfere with sleep. Ventilation, this was an eye-opener for me also. The ideal temperature in your bedroom when you go to bed and when you go to sleep is 68 degrees or lower. And make sure that you have good ventilation in your room. Clutter, you want to put things away before you go to bed so you're not dealing with that after you've already gone to sleep. Remember something you have to do, you want to get all that put aside. And that was the last slide there, Rick. So that was what I had for you.
Well, that's great. And as it is, I think there's a lot of things right there that people can take away with and maybe apply to their sleeping habits. I would like to also share one of those things. It's kind of it's a sleep assessment. So if you've got a piece of paper and a pen handy, you might want to write this down. One of the things that we look at is, what time do you actually turn off the lights and go to bed? If you take a look at what time you're going to bed and you find that you've, maybe going to bed at 10 o'clock, how long does it really take you to fall asleep once you've turned those lights off? Then you take a look at how many times are you up during the night? Because that is a disruption of sleep as well. And if you're looking at that, how long do you, really stay asleep during these intervals? And then what time do you wake up in the morning? So if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock and it may take you 45 minutes to an hour to fall asleep, you might think that things have not wound down yet and you're not really relaxed. So you might want to do the meditation or reading a book. And then with those 5 things that I just mentioned, you can make a determination of what your real sleep is. If you calculate what your sleep window is, the actual time between your lights out and waking up, and subtract the amount of time that you've been up during the night or been awake and tossing and turning, if you take that away from your actual hours of sleep, then you're going to end up with the actual sleep time. And maybe your calculation would be, okay, well, I've gone to bed and I've limited myself, or I have an 8-hour window, but I was up 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night and it's taken me 10 or 15 minutes to fall back asleep. You're actually not getting that full 8 hours of sleep. You might find that you're only going to get 5.5 or 6 hours of sleep. And we know that that's really not going to be enough. And going through Dr. A's Habits of Health, in the book, this assessment is actually on pages 216, 217 of the Habits of Health. If you want to take a look at that during this time, you can find out where you're really at and find out how much actual sleep time that you're getting. So there's a lot of things that we can do to improve that sleep, and with that, hopefully you can get a better, deeper REM sleep, and that way you're having the nature's nurse take care of things, because this is really when we sleep, having the recuperative sleep is really where our bodies are repairing themselves. And without the proper rest, just like John was saying, without the proper rest, you may be going through halfway through your day and feeling very, very tired. And so if you can take a couple minutes and kind of look at those things, where you're at, and help eliminate those things that may interfere with your sleep, you're going to be able to get better recuperative sleep. Troy, is there's something out there that you would like to come in with as well?
Yeah, I think, Rick, the other thing too is to think about nutrition. I mean, we obviously with Habits Health, we're talking about nutrition. We're talking about these different things, but nutrition and the things you put in your body throughout the day is going to affect your sleep. So, be mindful of really what you're putting in your body, because that's going to be at the end of the day when you're going to sleep at night. Dependent upon basically just like John was saying, was that cut a lot of your fatty foods and other things off 3 hours before bed. Really be mindful of really thinking about the 6 times a day a person should be eating. Drinking a half your body weight in ounces in water. That's important, because we want to have good sleep. Our body has to recuperate and basically so the next day when you get up, you're not that groggy person. You're actually active. You feel good. You want to accomplish things throughout the day, and it doesn't make that sluggish day for you because of the fact that maybe you didn't cut water off 2 hours before bed, so you were up all night. So you kind of want to think about these things, and as you go through, kind of little small increment, changes that you can make through a week, through a month, through a year, that you're making to help your sleep and to help you create a better environment. Just like also John was talking about, is the basically keeping that room, keep your room very very clean. You don't want it cluttered. And my biggest thing that I see with a lot of people that I guide and assist is that they sleep to where it's warmer, and they don't get that good sleep. So having that draft come in and keeping that room really, really cool is very important. Cutting the electronics off in general, sitting there maybe reading a book. Let's think about this. If you've got a TV in your room, that in all honesty, that shouldn't be in your room, because that's the room is to sleep. And so you want to kind of be mindful of the different things that you're doing and what you're wanting to create in your health, because if you're not getting the right proper sleep, you really can't be successful for the next day in doing the things you want to do.
I think as it is, we can take away a lot of important information here, and hopefully there's been a couple things that people can realize. Well, maybe that just like you're saying, Troy, maybe I should take that TV out of my bedroom, and maybe I ought to turn that computer off. Maybe I ought to think about preparing myself for sleep so that I can actually get restful sleep instead of just turning the TV off right away and going to bed. It's going to take you some time to get into the relaxation mode and really be able to settle things down and get into the sleep. I think those are all very, very important points. And in Dr. A's book, he lines these out very specifically and has definitely a plan to improve your sleep. I want to take a second and thank John for the Habits of Health tonight. And Joette, thank you so much for sharing with us your 2-minute story. Been wonderful. If there's anything else, I think that we're about ready to wrap it up for this evening. Thank you for attending. And again, this will happen again next week, same time. It's going to be 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. And if you haven't been able to get on, then this is being recorded, and you will be able to get the recording. Just contact your health coach or the person that invited you to the Habits of Health, and you will be able to get the recording and maybe catch up on the rest of those. So if there's nothing else, thanks guys, and hopefully we'll see you again next week. Thank you so much.